Yeah, Mark, I have a question about the Jefferson movement. There's a lot of ambiguity to me as far as the timing. We've been going on and on and on. So there's no clear picture to people, especially me, what's going to happen, when it's going to happen, and how soon it's going to become a state of Jefferson, because coming soon could mean 10 years from now. But at the same token, you know, what I want to see is the people in this room are like a muscle for a boxer. If he doesn't train, if he doesn't keep it fit, then when he's ready to fight, he's not going to be worth a darn. And I don't want to see the muscle in here atrophy. I want to see people being, you know, given the promise and it be carried through. I want to see someone step forward and say, like Gavin Newsom did down in San Francisco, you know, you're going to take this whether you like it or not. Go ahead, Sacramento, we're leaving. You know?
Well, first of all, I'm not a big fan of Gavin Newsom, but yeah, that's a good question. We have a Supreme Court attorney, we have a federal court attorney. This will be filed in federal court for the Eastern District, because if you have a brain in your head, you never file anything in state court that you want to win. So we have found a way to get this in federal court. I just had this conversation with two of the attorneys 2 days ago. I said, you know, people have been waiting a long time. I mean, we appealed to the legislature. The silence was deafening. We've sent tens of, if not hundreds of thousands of emails, phone calls, letters, blah, blah, blah. So our next avenue was to sue them, because we now have standing. We can prove that we have a lack of representation because we've been harmed by that lack of representation. And we have the third remedy, or the third third leg of the stool for a federal lawsuit, and that's a remedy. And the remedy is more representation for lack of representation. But here's the deal, and this is what the Supreme Court attorney said to me. First of all, we have a plan that has been legally tested, and there is precedent to support this plan. And I can prove to you what I'm saying after the meeting if you like. Our case will go to the Supreme Court, and they cannot refuse to take it. We're not applying for cert. The Supreme Court will have primary jurisdiction as the appeal process from the federal court, the way we're going about it. That took a long time to engineer, and we had to have a Supreme Court case in order to prove that, so that we could use the same method, and that was the case Abbott versus Evenwell. So we have a method to go to the Supreme Court. It is proven. They cannot say no to our case. If we get to the Supreme Court, according to Clarence Thomas's dissent of a unanimous decision, which is pretty odd in the Evenwell case, we're going to win, because Thomas told us exactly how to win the case, and that's what we're doing. So here's the rub. Our Supreme Court attorney says, because I told him, look, there's a lot of pressure here. The muscle thing that you said, and I use different terminology, but that's what we're facing. It's pretty hard to keep 100,000 people stirred up for years and years. Well, we've only been engaged in attempting this judicial remedy for about 6, 7, 8, 9 months now. That's not very long in court, I'll tell you, and especially in federal court. But here's the problem, and this is what the Supreme Court attorney told me, and this is very important, so please take this to heart. He says, we will win this case, but I want to nail down every single board in the case before we present it. There's only one way to lose this thing, and that's by not being cautious and not covering all of our bases. And he said, it is far more important to me to do this right than it is to do it quickly. If our attorneys do this right, we're going to win, and it's going to force a dramatic and extremely dramatic expansion in the representation of California, so that the people of this county and every other county will have some. Now, mind you, this is important because why? Because there are 35 rural counties and only 18 urban counties. If we win this lawsuit, we can stop this legislation in the California Senate or in the California Assembly if our plan works out. But in the California Senate, nevertheless, because there are 35 rural counties who will have a state senator. And that will stop all of the stuff that San Francisco and Los Angeles wants to do. But we have to do it right, and that takes time. When is it going to file? I don't know. When it's right, I hope soon. I hope tomorrow. But when it's right, we'll file it. And it should be in the next few months.
Okay.
Real quick, and I'm sure this is probably impossible to answer, but on that question that you answered,
I'm a CEO of a company and I like numbers and scale. Is it 5 years, 10 years, 100 years? You know, do you have an idea of even possibly what it is?
You mean for the
For a
lawsuit?
time frame
For
for
the
the state of
lawsuit?
Jefferson to come about? Or,
Well, here's the deal. You know, what we hope is, we hope to force a legislative settlement out of a judicial solution. Now, that course of action is fraught with danger because, of course, it's never been done before. So what we hope to do in the lawsuit, we hope to force such a dramatic expansion in representation in the state of California. Our goal is, constitutionally in 1879, we had one assembly person for every 2,700 people. That's what we're hoping to achieve, because your vote is diluted if you don't have that. In 1879, your vote meant 1 for 2,700.
so it's take that step
Now
and then
it's,
the next step.
now it's 1 for 500,000. If we win and we get a California State Assembly that has 14,000 people, here's what the court typically says. Yeah, you're right, you've been screwed, you need more representation, you boys go in the back room and you settle the ratio and come back out and tell us what you decide. Well, we hold out for 1879 levels, 1 for 2,700.
Okay.
State of California says, we can't do that, guys. We'd have to get a bigger switchboard and a bigger building,
So
and all
it's
the
gonna take
egos
a
would
while.
collapse the town.
It's gonna take a long time.
Then what they're going to say is, what's it going to take to make you boys go away? Because we're not doing that. And we say you take your mono party that we know you control, and you pass legislation for an Article 4, Section 3 state split, and then we drop this deal and go away, and you can keep screwing your own people till the cows come home.